All right. Hey guys, my name is Devin Candies, and I'm here with Austin Benton, treasurer for the ULL lacrosse team. Um, Benton, who is responsible for making decisions in order or in reference to the budget?
Well, our team is consisted of about 5, 6 people that are all on a board, and all together we get together a list of costs and analyze what we can afford for the season. And of that board, that's how we decide what decisions we'll make throughout the season as time goes on and what we need.
Okay. And let's say there's a mistake or something happens with the budget that doesn't go according to plan. Who ultimately is accountable for any mistakes? Is that you, or do we place that on a higher person?
Mistakes as far as analyzing the budget would be put solely on me, but as far as making decisions as to what we're going to spend, overspending or over budgeting what we can afford, not living within our means, that's brought on the whole board, but it looks worse on the president, vice president.
Of course. And how do we come up with the budget? Do we use it off of a previous season? Do we just come up with a rough estimate? Do we just say, we're going to be doing this year? Do we analyze every single detail, or do we come up with like I said, a rough estimate of what we spent last year? Okay, we have a larger team. Do we need more?
Yeah, our budget is based a lot off of last year's budget, because year after year we need the same things. We always have to travel. We always need nets. We always need balls. So there's things that will always go into the budget. Of course, we account for growth.
Right.
So if we expect to have more players coming in than we had last year, or than we have leaving, then we have to, analyze that as far as travel goes. We'll need more on hotels and a little bit more on travel for the buses and whatnot. But as far as analyzing the budget as a whole, it's year to year, because different years will need different things. We won't need uniforms every year, but we might need new helmets.
Okay.
Our helmets might go out of date or might not be certified through that next year.
Of course.
So that it's mostly based off of previous years and just kind of accounting for growth. But then as small factors come into play is when we throw them into next year's budget to just kind of account for the new things that we might need.
And going off of that, factors will change your budget all the time. So with that being said, how often is that budget revised to be accurate for the team, as often as possible? So how often is that budget revised?
I'd like to say quarterly, but we revise it 3 times a year. We revise it at the end of the season,
okay,
the beginning of next season, and then in between semesters.
Right.
So we analyze it 3 times a year, but it turns out to be almost quarterly.
Okay. And do we ever make any small adjustments to the budget? Is it constantly is the budget constantly changing? Meaning, what you're working with, let's say certain spending happens in let's say a fall.
Mm-hmm.
Does that same spending automatically happen in the spring, or does that change or differ depending on seasons or stuff like that? Let's say in the fall we're off season. So would we be spending that on travel? No. So does that budget change there that we calculate, or is there kind of we have about 5,000 for this semester, 5,000 for next semester?
We allocate the budget more to what we need that semester. Gotcha. So we don't account for costs for helmets in the spring because we don't need them in the spring. We need them in the fall. So it's not the same for each semester, because that's how we break up our budgets from semester to semester.
Okay.
So our budget is different in the fall semester than it is in the spring semester. So we allocate our costs as to the time that we need them. Now we analyze our budget and revise it after every purchase.
Correct. So it's constantly changing, so we got to make sure that we're staying
exactly
on track,
anything as small as a $2 purchase that would go on the team, we have to log that and then revise our budget as to determine between actual costs and projected costs. Because that's all the budget is necessarily projected cost. So as you collect those actual costs, you determine whether you're over or under budget. And if you're either one of those, you can adjust for other things down the road that you need.
All right. And is this budget accessible for anyone on the team, the public, coaching staff, or is it just for, your concern and what you said the board's concern?
It's accessible to anyone who wants to see it. It's readily available team. We treat our team more like a public company just because, I mean, everyone's money is paid. Like the money that the team gets is all mostly from dues. So we consider those as stockholders. So your stockholders would all get to see your financial
So what they're
statements and
spending
everything.
and stuff like that.
Exactly, so that they can see that
Their
money's going to something that they assume is worth it, kind of deal.
correct. And during this process of making and creating your budget, is there any technology that you use making this? Is this all pencil and paper? And let's say you do use technology, which applications, such as PowerPoint, Word, Office, Excel, emails, stuff like that? What do you use, in entirety to make a year-round budget?
For ours, we try to keep it relatively simple. We base everything off of email and Excel just because from year to year, we'll have different treasurers come through. So we don't want them to have to download too many programs or to be too complicated. So we make it as cut and dry as possible to pass off to the next person.
All right. And I appreciate this interview. Thank you very much.
Thank you.